the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Brooke Shields and James Gandolfini back in 2002 reading Lou Gehrig's famous farewell speech. There will be similar commemorations at ballparks this Saturday to mark the 70th anniversary of that heartbreaking moment in baseball. 2 years after Gehrig spoke those words, he died of A.L.S. More than 300,000 Americans alive today will eventually die of what is now known more commonly as Lou Gehrig's disease. But scientists are making small steps toward understanding this mysterious ailment, and with that, they hope will finally come a way to fight it.
Today, I consider myself...
Lou Gehrig might have considered himself lucky, but he could not have imagined that 7 decades after his emotional farewell, there would still be no treatment for A.L.S.
When I was initially diagnosed, the doctors, 3 different doctors, told me the same thing. There's nothing we can do. Go home and die, basically.
But science may finally be making the kind of progress that would have made the Iron Horse proud.
Much as those Yankees featured some of the greatest teamwork in the history of baseball, we have assembled a dream team of scientists and clinicians to work on the problem.
Once competitors, researchers from both Harvard and Columbia are now working together, using skin samples from both A.L.S. patients and healthy donors to better understand what causes this disease. What you are doing in your 2 labs is really pivotal when it comes to A.L.S. research. Why?
Well, for the first time, we can now have billions of these cells to study in the laboratory and ask why it is that they get sick.
In A.L.S., nerve cells called motor neurons become incapable of sending messages from the brain to the spinal cord and onto the muscles, resulting in paralysis and ultimately death.
You're alive, but you watch yourself dying, and you can't do anything about it.
Rather than retrieving the motor neurons from the spinal cord of patients, a procedure that's far too risky, scientists are creating them from scratch.
Skin cells are very accessible, but they have nothing to do with the disease. So that's why we've had to find out a way of turning the skin cells into motor neurons.
I won't do anything without telling you, okay?
Okay, good. So I decided to donate some of my skin to science. Am I going to bleed?
You will bleed a little bit. There you go.
So that's done?
It's all done.
A tiny piece of skin like this is put into a petri dish where cells then multiply. They're genetically modified to behave like embryonic stem cells, capable of becoming any kind of cell in the body.
They have all of the same characteristics of embryonic stem cells, but they don't come from the embryo.
They're then able to manipulate those very malleable stem cells to become motor neurons, enabling researchers to do what's never been done before, study the progression of A.L.S. under a microscope.
We know that in patients with the disease, the motor neurons die and disappear. So we want to compare the motor neurons from A.L.S. patients with the motor neurons from healthy individuals.
And through that, we really do believe that we'll come to a fundamental understanding of what leads to A.L.S.
which in turn should help them develop a treatment for the disease. How important is this research to you that's being done here?
This important is essential. We have light at the end of the tunnel, and that you can't ask for more than hope.
Hope that even the luckiest man on the face of the earth never had.
And I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
And for more about A.L.S. and this groundbreaking research, you can go to our website at cbsnews.com. And we'll be right back.